Starting the week, it's when we go over to Los Angeles to talk to my friend, our brilliant royal guru over there in LA on the West Coast, Kinsey Schofield. Welcome, Kins.
Hey, Kev, good to see you.
Always a pleasure. Well, let's kick off. You and I spoke last week about this German documentary, The Lost Prince, which doesn't pull its punches. It basically frames Harry and Meghan as a couple of grifters, entitled grifters, you know, who live in an elite world, don't seem to understand the needs, desires and concerns of the rest of us. And it interviews lots of people to say, you know, what is the point of these two? What exactly are they playing at? They say they're changing the world, but they're not. You know, they're raising loads of money for charity, and yet they're not, and so on and so forth. Well, this is going out in Germany, and just to put it into context, it's going out the equivalent of if Brits got to watch it on the BBC, mass audience, or in America, NBC or ABC or CBS, one of the big channels. So, huge audience in Germany. Meghan apparently feels very let down and devastated by many of the things that have been said in this documentary, which aren't very complimentary about the gruesome twosome. Well, you know, I don't really want to hear her saying, oh, people have let me down, really bad. You've let a lot of people down, Meghan, and that's why you're in the state you're in, right?
I mean, should we start with Thomas Markle? But you're right. In response to the German documentary, a source close to Meghan told OK Magazine, both Meghan and Harry feel the show is yet another one-sided takedown of them. Cough Oprah, cough Spare, cough Netflix, and just want it to stop. Cough the last few months of Queen Elizabeth's life. I'm sure she felt the same way. They added, it's like they can't escape their past, LOL, and are still being judged on things that happened over 5 years ago, but they know it gets people talking and makes money. I mean, pot, meat, kettle, Kevin, it is, I've never seen a more blissfully unaware couple. Their lack of self-awareness truly is the only thing that they should be receiving trophies for.
Well, there's a guy quoted in this documentary called The Lost Prince. He's a neighbour of theirs in Montecito. He's a guy called Richard Maynards, who I vaguely know. He's a British reporter, an English reporter, who used to be based in New York and now lives in Santa Barbara or the Montecito area, and he writes a gossip column for the local paper there. Now, he said, this is what he said, he said, I personally don't think that Meghan is an asset to our community. She doesn't really go out or get involved with the community. Harry has to a certain extent because he's quite jolly, but Meghan doesn't seem to get seen anywhere, and you don't see him much either. You know, there's a pretty condemnatory statement from one of their neighbours saying we just don't see them. I mean, I think what this amounts to is what they're being accused of is they've plonked themselves in this massive, very expensive multi-million-dollar mansion in an exclusive community. They're very rarely seen. They're living, you know, this elite life on the West Coast. And they say they're doing great work around the world, but they're not. I mean, I suppose what it amounts to is, you know, what are they for? What's it all about? I mean, lots and lots of fine words, but they don't actually seem to do anything.
Yeah, what was Colombia? What was Nigeria? And you know what's going to inspire some China crashing in Montecito is the fact that on Thursday, Time Magazine plans to announce their Person of the Year, and the Princess of Wales is one of the potential people. We saw them post Catherine's picture on Instagram, teasing that on Thursday they would be announcing their Person of the Year, and Catherine was one of the potential picks alongside President-elect Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and some of these real powerhouses in the entertainment and political sphere here in the United States. Places that Harry and Meghan have clawed their way into. They're so desperate to be taken seriously in the political space. When Meghan had one podcast episode that broke Joe Rogan's record for 30 seconds, there were more press releases sent out about it than we've ever seen press releases on anything else they've done. So I do think that this documentary humiliated them because it was basically the encyclopedia of all of their failures, and it magnified the fact that Harry and Meghan have had much more failures than successes since they chose to step down as senior members of the royal family and really live this yucky life of exile.
Yeah, and you know, we know that their business interests are going nowhere fast. It's unlikely that their Netflix contract will last for much longer. I think. Although
Thursday, you and I can catch up on the Polo show because it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, we should talk about that in just a second. That does. I mean, I've been on the edge of my seat. You just reminded me of its very existence. But I definitely will catch that, probably for all the wrong reasons. But we know that their ambitions to be TV producers, film producers, are going nowhere fast. Partly because I think Harry's lost all interest. Clearly isn't very interested in all this showbiz stuff. She is, but it's not working out. Her website, American Riviera Orchard, just a non-starter, isn't happening. So nothing much is happening there. So that's all gone wrong, all gone pear-shaped. But what they still... the foundation stone of their existence over there, their gilded existence on the West Coast, is the charity work. They were doing so much good work for worthy causes, good causes, charity, global game changers. We're going to work globally. We're going to work globally to help people. Well, we discussed last year, their total donations to the Archwell Foundation, their charity, were $5,700,000. $5 million of which came from one mystery donor. Was that Harry? I wonder. I'll leave that hanging in the air. Could easily have been. So even if it was $5,700,000, that globally, that does nothing. Charity-wise, that is peanuts. Their charity foundation, they make so much of it. We're just helping people. We're going to go to Nigeria. We're going to go to Colombia and help people. And poor, the parents of children who suffer online harm. It's all good words. But $5,700,000. And by the way, of that, the majority of the money went on expenses and salaries. Three executives at Archwell earning more than $700,000 between them. That's from donations, right? So the majority of money didn't go to worthy causes. Only $1.3 million went to worthy causes out of $5,700,000. So their charity foundation stone is nothing. It's a pretense. They're not doing anything to change the world globally. On the great scheme of things, they're not really doing much at all in terms of charity, are they?
Well, just to throw it back to the neighbor's comments about Meghan not being a very big asset to the community, Archwell repeats the term community impact. Start at home. I mean, Skid Row, which I know you're familiar with here in Los Angeles, I'd say 70 to 80% of the homeless on Skid Row are veterans. Harry, that's right up your alley. Meghan, you grew up in the city of Los Angeles. You started home. Why are you in Nigeria? Why are you in Colombia? When you could make such a positive impact here in the United States, here in where Meghan grew up when she was a little girl, and veterans are Harry's niche. There is such a missed opportunity here. To me, I give you that as an example to say, I really feel like so much of this is for show. So much of it is to fill a line on a bio or a resume, or to ensure that another trophy is coming their way, because the trophies instruct people that these are good people that we should take seriously and we should listen to because they're better than we are. And the reality is, I think a lot of their charity work is performative, and there's an ulterior motive, and that ulterior motive is to make themselves look good and to elevate themselves.
Yeah, if you're talking about, you know, changing the world on a global scale, you're absolutely right. The only way you can interpret the fact that they've got $5,700,000 and they talk globally, that's not global. That's not a global amount. It's not even a local amount, charity-wise. So you're right. Everything they say about their do-gooding works is performative. It's just to look good. Let's present to our audience, shall we, Kinsey, an allegory, I think, for Harry's life, his plummeting popularity. So 2 years ago it was now that his spiteful little book Spare came out, right? The biography in which he fired slings and arrows at all the royal family, called them all racists and awful people and mean, and wouldn't give him any money, and told us unnecessarily where he lost his virginity and how he got frostbite in his manhood. All of this, Harry, next time, keep it to yourself. TMI. Yeah. TMI, too much information. Anyway, that book was sold at 28 quid, 28 pounds. What is that, $40 or something like that. And to be fair, it was intriguing and compelling enough for many people to buy it. It hit the bestseller list and did well. Anyway, now We Buy Books is a sort of second-hand book-selling, trading website. For the second year running, Spare is the most traded-in book on that entire site. And that is that people are handing it in as a second-hand book more than any other book. And it used to be £28. Guess what We Buy Books is now offering you if you want to sell your old copy of Spare. So £28, they'll offer you £3.38. £3 basically. So
that won't even buy you a coffee.
Exactly. So I think that's an allegory for Harry's plummeting popularity. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, his book cost you £28. Now you can get it for £3, or you couldn't sell it for £3. And he's gone from bestseller to worst seller, both book-wise and in life.
Let's not forget that when it initially came out, Amazon was willing to give you a copy of the Audible version for free if you would sign up for Audible. So, like, it's not always been an expensive piece of work. In some cases, there were some entities that were like, we'll give it to you for free. You just have to sign up. So I think that it is a good example of, you know, oh, how the mighty have fallen. And there were also the stories that you and I've discussed before of the travel agents saying people were leaving this book all over hotel rooms and by the pools. And when the hotels would call the families and say, can we send you this book back? They were like, please just keep it. Yeah. That Spare was littering resorts and hotels all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got anything I can read while I'm at this hotel? Well, we've got this huge stack of books going Spare. You can have them. Prince Harry wrote them. Just very quickly before you go, next week, by the way, we'll have to talk about, you know, what next year will hold for this couple, because the mind boggles. I mean, they seem to be going nowhere fast in all directions at the moment. But we'll hold on to that next week, until next week. But a little discussion about, is it tomorrow or is it the next day that Polo comes out? You explain what Polo is, Kinsey.
Polo is Bravo's rejected stepchild. Polo is a reality. They want you to think it's a docuseries, but it's really a reality show around the polo sport. Nacho, no one knows how to say his last name, who was apparently a big deal 20 years ago, was a sexy polo player and model, has now latched on to Prince Harry's coattails and is trying to go for round 2 of his 15 minutes of fame. We'll see whether or not anyone's interested, but a lot of negative feedback coming from Netflix executives who expected any sort of appearance from Harry and Meghan. They were really hoping that they would have some access to Harry and Meghan through this program. Allegedly disappointed that this is about a bunch of, individuals that the country's not familiar with, and lacking Harry's presence, there's really no reason for us to invest in these strangers to care about their lives. But Nacho already trying to tease season 2 of the Polo show. God love.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I mean, you know, you get these productions, you get TV series, you get movies, you get books, around which, before they're released, you can feel it. There's a buzz. There's a buzz. Everybody, when's that coming out? When's that? Can't wait to read it. Can't wait to see it. Well, I would say that Meghan and Harry's series about polo, they've got the opposite of that. It's the series no one's talking about. And as we discussed before, Kinsey, when Netflix executives first saw this series, filmed by Harry, produced by Harry and Meghan, they were dismayed, and the official or kind of the line that came out from them was, this show is not expected to connect. They think it's going to be a flop, don't they?
Yeah, the Nacho show. Sign up for that. Nobody signed up. What Netflix signed up for was exactly what we've seen Prince William develop over the last 12 months. Like, yeah, I know that charity work is not necessarily sexy, but the access to Prince William sitting down, talking about the death of his mother, talking about his mother's influence on his homeless campaign, that is what people want to see. And people would have tuned into Netflix to watch Prince Harry talk about how, yeah, even with polo, how his grandfather and father's influence excited him about his, you know, it enhanced his interest in polo. But Harry wants to give us all the information about other people, and when it comes to him, he's super hyper private and will not give us details about his own life, and that's not the way it works, and that's not what Netflix signed up for.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Harry, pretty soon no one's going to give a damn about your life, so you know, make hay while you can, I guess. Polo could be the end for you. You know, who cares about polo and people in it you've never heard of? Kinsey, always fantastic to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. What a pleasure. Kinsey Schofield over there in Los Angeles.